Hey guys, what's up? What to do? How are you guys doing? It is Riley. Wow, it feels so weird to be on camera right now. You know, as you can see by my title, a little bit of a touchy topic. Up with a complete disclaimer. You know, the stories that I tell in this video are true. You know, based on true events happened to me. I'm sure a lot of women can relate. I want this to be a video where people can openly talk about their experiences with this in their life. It's a total safe place for anyone that needs to ask me or reach out to me and talk to me about this topic, because it is really hard. And I don't want to get emotional as much as I could throughout this video, but I've been meaning to make this video for about a year now. And you know, after a year of healing and processing things and, you know, seeing somebody, you know, professional from my heart, this is how I'm feeling, and this is what I wanted to say to you guys for so long. You know, I've been off YouTube for way too long, and this is something that I love to do. This is something that, you know, I have passion for, I have ambition for. It's never been something for me that I wanted to live off of or do for a living, but it's always been something, a part of me inside. Me as Riley, to be real with you guys and raw and genuine and tell you guys life how it is and how it was. And you know, I've been doing this thing for a while. Reality, and this is one of my reality as Riley's, I guess. This is so weird. This is so 2021, like new video, new me, new everything, guys. I'm in my 20s. I would say I learned a lot, you know, coming into my 20s, and I'm so grateful for where I am now and the place that God has put me in, and I am just blessed. So this is me opening up about my abuse that I've gone through. I've had abuse in a couple of different situationships, such as an ex or a friend even, and I found myself getting in this circle of toxic, manipulative people. And I am somebody that is always pretty open arms, willing, honest, always going to give my raw self to anybody. And for me to have gone through this, you know, so many times, and honestly the story I'm going to be telling you guys is the worst case that I've had it. Obviously I'll talk about other things throughout the video, but that particular subject is going to be really hard for me, and it's going to be triggering for some of you guys that have been through the same things. And so I just want you guys to know that this is a safe place. But where have I been, guys? I have been off YouTube for almost 2 years, and it's hard for me. It's hard because this is somewhere where I felt like I've always been able to just express myself, my true self, and just who I am. And you know, even through the little videos I do, or making the memories and being able to vlog it and see it later, has always been a blessing to me. And I just wanted to tell you guys kind of where I've been throughout this whole time that I've been absent from YouTube, and making videos on TikTok, so you guys can kind of keep up with my life if you follow my TikTok. That's my TikTok, and Instagram, of course. But I just want you guys to know that within these, you know, 2 to 3 years that I've been off YouTube, or on and off YouTube, because I would say in 2019 I was more on YouTube than, you know, but I was off a lot. 2020 I had one video I put up, trash. I'm so disappointed with myself. So 2021, I know it's the middle of 2021, but I am going to start again. You know, I got a new MacBook, I got, you know, ambition, I have love in my life, I have, you know, family and great things around me that are supporting me, and friends, all that I need to like feel secure in myself and safe, and want to show people what I've been doing with my life and what I plan to do with my life and all that. I just wanted you guys to know that within these 2 to 3 years that I've been off YouTube, I haven't been my full self, or I've been portraying somebody that I wasn't, either on YouTube or Instagram or whatever, because inside, or what you guys don't see off camera, my life off camera was fucking disaster. And I'm sorry to swear, but like, I kid you not, my life was living hell for like 3 months in 2020, and regretful is a harsh feeling, and I don't ever feel much regret for what I went through, because I know I went through it for a reason, and I know it taught me a lot, and about not only other people but myself. I just want you guys to know I wasn't my full self throughout, you know, this past year. If you guys have been watching me, even on Instagram, I portray an image, you know, I am who I am. I've been trying to be more real on there lately. I wasn't being my full self. What was happening is that I was letting energies into my life on different vibrations, just different people, different energies come into my life. And this was affecting me as an empath, as a loving person. It was affecting me internally and externally to some points, but I need you guys to understand that and grasp that, because these stories I tell you at some points of my life, you know, during this situationship and after, I found myself in a lot of times where I didn't really know who I was, and I didn't really know what I was supposed to do, and I didn't know if I want to be here. And you know, it's hard because it's just real. Everyone goes through this feeling. I don't wish it upon anybody. I'm gonna give you guys a little timeline of these years, because I'm gonna be talking about a lot of different times and years throughout this video, and I just want you guys to really be able to pinpoint where I'm talking about and what I'm talking about. So, as you guys probably know, I was in a relationship, ended 2017, 2018, 2019. I went through a lot in that relationship. I learned about myself a lot. This relationship was not really something I was going to talk about in this video, because it is something that's in my past, and honestly, I don't really like to dwell on my past as much, but I do want to let you guys know that obviously I went through things in that relationship. You know, every relationship goes through its up and downs, and there's a point where things are too much, over the top, and there are things that you know, you just kind of brush aside, and you know that shouldn't happen in the next relationship. Old MacBook that I used to use when I was in that relationship, and in 2019 I was living in California. I'm sure you guys saw my videos when I moved there, and I was doing some videos, and I never even posted videos when I was out there, to be honest. Like, it was just a complete fail, that whole trip and moving and trying to adjust to a new lifestyle and being with the wrong person, and everything was just a lot for me. And so I had to leave that situation. I had to, you know, break up with my ex, and I had to move on. I moved in, you know, back to Seattle. I was back here. I posted one video, you know, in all of 2020, which this video will pretty much sum up what I went through all of 2020. 2020 was a really hard year for me, as I'm sure it was for a lot of people. I'm sure some people can relate to this. I don't think any relationship that you get in during the quarantine was even, you know, relevantly good. You know, I was single and focusing on self-love and self-confidence and self-respect and all that. I was focusing on all of that stuff within, you know, beginning of 2020 to summer. I went through some abandonment from my own family at the time. I went through, so from that I was still healing from you know, prior emotional and mental abuse from my ex-partner. I was still, you know, having arguments with this person. I was still, you know, paying fees of this person. So I got myself in a lot of issues where I was still paying for my ex's bills and stuff like that. And you know, I actually still am paying one of them to this day, and it still is irking me, but there's nothing really I can do about it. We're just not even gonna talk about it. But you know, once that's over with, and once it, you know, it is up in my credit, so that's nice, but I am just kind of putting that to the side. But I do want you guys to know I have experienced mental and emotional abuse with this person. That person didn't really, you know, ever hit me or put hands on me, but he would, you know, throw things and be violent and say really mean things. So I was going through abuse, but it was more, you know, emotionally and mentally. I was pretty much single all of 2020 until recent. So the beginning of June, I met a guy, and this video is going to be solely about, you know, my abuse and my story with this particular person. I was at a really vulnerable time of my life. I thought I was awakening. I was in my spiritual awakening and I was ascending, but I really wasn't. I was still figuring out who I was and what I wanted to do with my life. I was getting into business, which, you know, I figured out surely that that wasn't for me. It wasn't solely my fault that I got out of the business, but this guy that I met made things a lot harder for me to want to do or pursue or want to, you know, do anything with my life. Being with him made it almost impossible. And I know a lot of people are like, well, why didn't you leave? Why don't you get out of this? Why don't you, you know, not date him? And the thing is once someone has you, a manipulator, a narcissist, once they have you thinking they're in love, it just all goes downhill from there. And you're soon being devalued, you know, not appreciated, you're not being loved, you are just being controlled and abused. And this is what happened to me. And, you know, I suffer with the consequences. It's almost been a year. Even trying to, like, think about what happened to me was almost hard because, you know, trying to think about these traumatic experiences that I had, you'll just kind of eliminate all the memories out of your head and try to forget that it even happened and just try to, you know, that's what your mind tries to do. It tries to play tricks on you to make you think that, you know, it is okay and it's gonna be okay, this and that. But in reality, when it's happening, it's fucking destroying you. To give you guys a rundown, I met this guy through a mutual friend. So directly after meeting him, I hung out with him for like 3 days in a row, which was already a bad sign. You know, that was a lot of days in a row. At first it felt like, you know, the honeymoon stage when you really, really love somebody and you want to be with them, but it wasn't. It was interesting. And, you know, I look back at these things and, like, at the time I thought I was so set and so happy and so this, and then, like, now I look at it, I'm like, what was I thinking? Like, so anyways, I went on a trip for like a week or so after meeting him, and I ended up flying him out to California after I went on a business trip. And ended up flying him out, and we were out there for like 3 days on a trip that I had him come to, and it was cool, whatever. I don't know, there's nothing special about it, honestly. We got back, and, you know, this was like about middle of June, like time frame, if you guys want to know. I kind of was falling in love with like the idea of him, the idea of a relationship. I was falling in love with like myself, like trying to love and stuff like that, if that makes sense, if you guys can relate to that. I felt like this was somebody that genuinely wanted to love me or like appreciate me, and so I thought that this is what I wanted. In the beginning, there was a lot of love bombing, excessive love bombing. He would say things that just sounded so perfect and so like what I wanted to hear. Like, I can't even begin to explain to you what the things that he would say, but just things like, you know, always just kind of like making future plans, future promises, always trying to like make it seem like we're gonna be together for a very long time, and that he's gonna like take care of me, and that if I help him, he's gonna take care of me, and what, like, all this shit would just like come in my head from him. He would just try to manipulate me to think that he loved me or that he cared about me, and he really didn't, like, at all, because it's so clear at the end of the day how this ended. There were so many red flags, but at this point, like, I almost felt colorblind. Like, I was just so you know, infatuated with this idea that this was how it's supposed to be and this is who I was supposed to meet. And not too shortly later, like, I found out, you know, that it wasn't. I suffered for like 2 whole months after that, like, in this relationship with this abuser, and it was fucking toxic and terrible. As I tell this story, you're probably just gonna keep telling more and more red flags, but one of them, like, he didn't have a car, he didn't have a job, you know, and whoop-de-doo, like, those are just regular things that, you know, could be a red flag. But like, he said I love you like 2 weeks after meeting him. You know, that was too fast. Like, everything was moving way too fast, way too perfect. That's how I know that it was love bombing and that it wasn't real. It just didn't add up. Like, it just didn't add up. I saw some things on his phone, and after that, that was kind of one of our first arguments. I was within the first month of knowing him, and like, guys, that's kind of crazy. Like, fighting should not even happen within the first, like, a year of dating someone. I mean, it really depends on the people, but personally, like, I don't fight, and so him trying to fight with me was crazy. But the reason was so valid. He was still texting his ex-girlfriend, and I saw that, and I saw him, you know, like, I took him to the hospital for something, and literally he was messaging his ex-girlfriend, like, pictures of him in the hospital as I was, like, sitting in the car waiting for him in my car. Like, ready to take. So, you know, like, there were a lot of things that he would just, like, use me for, and I don't know if he was, like, trying to use me to fill a void or something, but I really wish he was honest with me from the jump, because he really made me think that he was in love. Right after, you know, he tries to apologize and wants me to trust him, all of a sudden he asks me, and I must just be like, dumb. Please don't judge me for my actions in this story time, because I don't know what the hell I was thinking or what the fuck I was doing, because he asked me how much money I had, or like, and obviously, you know, I told him an amount, and he persisted to try to ask me to, like, give him money to, like, invest into something. And I didn't even know what it was, you know. At the time, like, I was investing into cryptocurrencies, and like, I thought that, like, I don't know what I thought he was investing into, but I ended up giving him some money, right? Make me give him money with questions like, if you trust me, you'll give me this money and I will do something for you and save it and do this and that and this and that. And I'm like, okay. Like, in my head, I'm like, okay, like, yeah, like, I can give you some money. Like, what is it gonna do? You know, how is it gonna benefit me? You know, I made sure I knew all those things. And he told me all the things, and, you know, took my money, and that's what it was, right? And that's how it started. And he would always just say, like, you should invest in me so, like, I can take care of you one day and, like, make everything perfect for you. So he tried to flip everything on me, and that's pretty much what he did in, like, every argument and conversation. Would start putting me in some uncomfortable positions and situations where I didn't really want to be there and didn't want to do the things he wanted me to do. And even though, you know, like, I would do the things that he wanted me to do for him, I didn't want to, and I was forced. Like, even if, you know, he might say that, like, I willingly did these things, but I only did it because I thought that, like, he genuinely thought that it would help me and benefit me, but in reality, it was just fucking depressing the fuck out of me and making me feel like I wasn't who I really was. He would always ask me weird questions, like, just so many questions, deep questions about me that, like, you just don't really answer those type of questions within, you know, a couple of months of knowing people. Like, just really personal things that he just shouldn't even know. I get really insecure over the smallest things, like, just the smallest things to get insecure about, and then he would try to pinpoint me and make me feel bad about his insecurity, like, as if I did something wrong to him, like, even though he was just projecting his insecurities on me. And like I said, a month in, I found that he was still messaging his ex-girlfriend, right? And, like, it was nothing bad, like, it's not like they were sending things to each other, but, like, I just saw the messages, and I was like, I didn't even have to look at his phone, I just saw them, like, on his, notification center, and I was like, I got really upset about that. And he would just try to convince me that he was sorry and that he didn't mean it, that it would never happen again, and that he would delete the number and like block her. And I'm like, okay, like it is what it is. I would stay with him even though like I had my own, you know, home that I lived in, but it was about 45 minutes from him. So when I would go to his house, I would technically stay there for a few days, or, you know, days turn into weeks, and, you know, weeks turn into, you know, weeks and weeks. So he would like try to force conversations out of me, try to ask me questions, and I felt like he was doing these things to like use them against me, and then he really was doing that. He was trying to, you know, figure out what I was more vulnerable towards and use that against me to try to manipulate me and make me upset and make me try to be upset and lash out to him. I didn't ever really lash out. It would hurt me. Like, he did make me feel like a piece of fucking shit all the time. Like, I would go in my room and like do my affirmations and try to pray and just be good, and he would just ruin it, and I like sage myself and like try to be like happy, and he would just try to ruin my happiness every second that I would try to feel happiness. I felt like he tried to get me to a point where I was 100% vulnerable and like crying hysterically and upset, to a point where he could feel like he had power over me. And this was one of the first times that he actually was physical with me. He would get on top of me and kind of like choke me, hold me right here. He would hold me like this with one arm, with my head right there. He would drag me across the room by my arms, by my hair, by my body. He would basically hold me to the ground, threatening me. Just say the nastiest things to me, like, oh, like I would kill you right now if I could, or, and I know that's hard to say, and like you know, I look back at this shit and I don't know what the fuck I was thinking to stay with somebody like this.
LDmusic.com.
And just the things that he would say, like, I swear, he thought he was in love with me. I did not fall in love with his lust, and he honestly acted like he was possessed and had evil spirits in him, because he would just always want to hurt me and suck all of the energy I had out of it. Try to lock me in and out of rooms, wouldn't want me to not even be around him or not be able to have, you know, my phone. You know, he would take my phone at night, would text people for me and delete them, and like acted like I messaged them. Like, he would want to listen in to all my conversations on my phone. Like, if I had a phone call or a FaceTime with a friend, he would want to listen to it and make sure he can hear everything. Girl, when I say this shit, it makes me feel so stupid. Fuck. He went through these episodes of hurting me, and I would try to pack up all my stuff and leave. You know, I had a car, I was driving back and forth, you know, between these places, and I would pack up all my shit, try to get out the door, and he would stop me at the front of the door and wouldn't let me leave. And I tried to leave, I think 4 or 5 times throughout this whole relationship, guys, and the last time I tried to leave, I actually got to my car with all my shit in it and started driving, and he made me stop. So every time I tried to leave the situation, I was held against my will. I was held against my will. He would just try to convince me that he was acting out of character, or that he didn't really mean anything he said. Say that he didn't want to hurt me, and that he would just try to hug me and acted like he didn't want to hurt me, and I was just so confused at this point, guys. Like, I don't even know how to explain how I felt, because, you know, I felt like this was someone that really cared about me but was hurting me because of their own problems, and I was accepting it, and this is where it was devaluing me, because now I'm this girl that's like flinching to every movement from somebody around me, and it was because I was being hit. So I don't think, after a while, you know, he would try to isolate me from my family. I couldn't go on family vacations. He would isolate me from my friends. I couldn't see any of my friends. Couldn't really even talk to them. This whole 3 months of dating him, I literally barely had contact with anybody. I lost a lot of friends during this time. He would get really angry at me if I didn't have money to give him to invest in his business or himself or whatever the frick he was doing. It's where he would get physical with me if I didn't. And you know, there were multiple occasions where he got physical, and I thought it was, you know, at this point I thought it was normal, you know. And the thing about this is I learned a lot about these type of relationships, these abusing relationships, with my counselor, and she's actually helped me a lot through this. She recommended me this book. If you guys are going through anything like this, I want you guys to know that this book right here, Why Does He Do That, by Lundy Barcroft, is a really good book to read to like know inside the mind of an abuser. And it's actually really, I learned a lot from this, and this is just the inside the minds of angry and controlling men. I wanted you guys to know that from my counselor I learned a pretty important term, and it's something that she called a codependent relationship. And a codependent relationship, which I felt was emotionally codependent. So addicted to the feeling of like him, you know, us being happy, him getting angry at me, us fighting, you know, me crying, being so vulnerable, him getting angry, him hurting me, him punching me in the face, him, you know, throwing me to the ground or choking me, to a point where, like, you know, after that, you know, there's always a point where, like, after this happens, guys, that you're just like going down. So this is all going up this hill, you know, you're at the highest point is him hitting you, okay? And then you get lower and lower and lower and lower and lower and lower. And this is where, you know, this is what he is feeding off of, the energy. The energy of you accepting that he is hurting you and you accepting and forgiving him for it. And once he feels that you forgive him and you love him and that you're just going to accept him for anything and he'll change and this and that, that is what he is relying on. And that's why he is codependent on you. Not even just financially, not even physically, just emotionally. That type of emotion that he is feeling when you are forgiving him after abusing you is what is addicting to him. This is what I found myself going through, and I didn't even realize it until I learned about it in my fucking counseling. So, you know, go to therapy, guys, if you can. I was being manipulated, controlled, devalued, abused, and, you know, even forced sexually by him. And you can be forced sexually by your partner. You know, it's still a thing. Like, even though he is your boyfriend or someone that you're with, even, like, that is still, you know, not okay. Like, you should not be forced sexually to do something you don't want to do. I wanted to also mention he would do things like not even just taking my phone at nights, but he would only let me have my phone for like an hour or two a day. And then he would like not let me post on Instagram. I couldn't post selfies, videos, I couldn't post anything. I couldn't post on my regular page, I couldn't post on my story, because he thought that all of it was for attention and that I'm doing it and looking like a thought and a hoe and doing this and that. And he thought everything I did was stupid, like YouTube, makeup, everything he thought I did was dumb to him. So this is where I really was realizing that this person wasn't for me, right? And this was in August. You know, I'm realizing that this person's using me, taking all my money, you know, draining my energy. He had just complete control over me as a human at this point. And this is where, you know, I really realized that I was being abused. And in the moment, I didn't really realize it, like, when it was happening. And I was, you know, trying to figure out lies to say to myself to try to make him seem better, or lies to say to my family to make him seem like he's not hurting me, or, you know, had to lie about why I had a bruise on my face, or this and that. So basically everything was controlled by him. You know, my money, car, how much weed I smoked, how much alcohol I would drink, how many friends I had, who I would hang out with, how much time I had with my family. Anything I was doing for money, he had complete control over. Everything was just, he had to control it. And he was not even my boyfriend. Like, I knew him for literally 2 months and he was already doing all of this to me. When I did finally have the courage to say things to him to his face, those are the days that I remember, you know, actually being hit in my face. Have a bruise on your face from a man is definitely a feeling that you can never take away from somebody. it is really hard to be able to know that I was so down in a hole that I couldn't get myself out of. And you know, a lot of people say like, well, why didn't you leave? Like, why didn't you ask for your money and leave? And why didn't you go to the cops? And why didn't you do this? And there were so many times, guys, where I wanted to just, you know, run away and take all my things at night and leave. And every time I would try to do something like that, it wouldn't work. There was times where we would be arguing so bad and he would choke me and doing all the crazy things, leaving marks on me. And I would say that I was going to leave. I was going to run off the porch. I would say that I was going to yell at the neighbors. Like, he would, you know, put his hands over my mouth so tight that I couldn't scream. He would put my head into the pillows. A lot of people say, like, why did you stay? You know, why did you try to fight for their relationship? And it was honestly mostly because he had all of my money and I wanted my money back and I tried to get it back. It's okay, because I know that he's received all his karma for what he has put me through. You know, such a divine, pure soul like me that only wish everything but the best for him. And like, even though he put me through so much, guys, like, I did my best to be so positive throughout the whole thing. And I just looked at my 555 on my wrist and was always just like, stay positive, girl. You got this. I left August 18th, so I remember that day as a very good day for me, because after that day, you know, I went through a lot of fucking depression and, you know, trying to figure out myself again and heal. And my healing process took me a very long time, and without the help of, you know, my therapist, I don't know where I'd be. But I am so much more healthier now. I'm happy, I'm healthy, you know, I'm in love right now, guys. Like, I have found everything that is for me, and I honestly couldn't have done it without going through those things. And it's really hard for me because I went through a lot in just the span of 2 years, and it's just, I know this shit happens to everybody, and this shit happens all the time to a lot of people. And so I just want you guys to know that you can be strong through it, even though it's hard in the moment. I just want you guys to know that this is a safe place. Like I said, please, guys, you know, please just stay positive, affirm like love, and manifest love and happiness and peace into your life, and you will get it. I just wanted to say I'm so much more happier now, and I'm peaceful, and my life is at bliss, and I have ideas, and things are happening, and I'm going on vacations, and I have this fucking amazing support team and family and friends, and I'm grateful for everybody. Able to know that you can get through anything. You can do anything your heart desires, and you can get through anything that you want to get through, as long as you try. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys want to stay updated on my life, the next couple videos I'll be doing are going to be way more happier. But I wanted to just come on here and kind of tell you guys where I've been, get pretty raw with you and real, and just be 100% me, because that's all I can do. But the next couple videos I have coming up are pretty cool. I'm going to be vlogging 2 vacations I'm going on. I'm going to Hawaii again, and I'm going to Vegas, and I'm going to be vlogging both of those trips. So there's already a whole bunch of little videos that have aligned to come. As always, please leave some, you know, video requests down below that you guys want to see, because I know I just came back, but I want to be on here. I want to make videos, so I need to know what you guys want to see. So I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.